Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Friday, November 3rd, 2017, and you're tuned in to episode 366 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. Our top story of the day is a poll just released yesterday that was commissioned by the American Legion, showing that support for medical marijuana among military veterans was nearly ubiquitous. The poll, conducted on a sample of 513 veterans and 289 family members, found that 92% of the veterans were in favor of allowing for the use of medical marijuana, while 93% of their family members felt the same. The support was statistically bipartisan in nature, with 88% of self-identified conservative households being in favor versus 90% of liberal-leaning households. The American Legion has been active in supporting and promoting the use of medical marijuana, adopting a resolution in their national convention this summer asking that the Veterans Administration let doctors talk to veteran patients about the use of medical cannabis. Swing over to Stars and Stripes for more on this one. As always, we have all the news we cover linked to on our website at mjtodaydaily.com and on our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily. San Francisco's Board of Supervisors has had a busy week of cannabis-related work, as yesterday the board's Land Use Transportation Committee amended a proposed regulation to allow marijuana dispensaries to let their customers smoke cannabis inside. The issue is particularly sticky in California, which has a strong set of laws banning indoor smoking, which is why the committee passed an amendment that removes public health officials from the indoor consumption permitting process entirely, giving the responsibility over to the Office of Cannabis. In addition to the indoor consumption language, committee members also voted in favor of a 1,000-foot buffer between dispensaries and schools. The committee will meet again on Monday. The San Francisco Chronicle is reporting that it's possible the city could be ready to go on January 1st as Proposition 64 goes into effect. We'll certainly be tracking this one. Our final top story of the day has us out in Washington State, where on Wednesday, legal marijuana industry operators lost access to the state's official seed-to-sale tracking system, leaving them to operate with either a third-party system or to keep track of everything by hand using spreadsheets and manual data entry. This is a story we've touched on a number of times in recent weeks, as MJ Freeway, the marijuana software firm taking over Washington's new seed-to-sale tracking contract, failed to finish technical integration work necessary to start up their new Leaf data system. State officials say that legal cannabis operators should plan on at least 2 months of disruption. This is a good story to click over to Marijuana Business Daily and read, especially for the analysis at the end by writer Bart Shainman about how this messy situation could prove to be the death knell for state-mandated seed-to-sale tracking systems. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz it on headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, Extractioneering, makers of the finest of legal cannabis concentrates and extracts. The next time you step into your favorite dispensary, ask them if they carry Extractioneering products. And if they don't, tell them they need to. Check out photos and videos of their golden sugars, crumbles, and syrups over at extractioneering.com, which is spelled like engineering, but with the word extraction. That's extractioneering.com. All right, time for the blitz. The Democratic Party of Tennessee just voted in support of a party resolution calling for the legalization of medical marijuana. State Party Executive Committee member Gary Blackburn says he hopes medical marijuana can be used to address the growing opioid crisis. A proposed bill in Florida State Senate would allow medical marijuana patients to smoke their medicine. Under current state law, patients are barred from smoking cannabis, instead limited to taking it as a vapor, topical, or edible. State Senator Gary Farmer of Fort Lauderdale filed his bill, SB 726, yesterday to be taken up during the state's next legislative session, which begins in January. We'll certainly keep an eye on this one. On Wednesday, the Las Vegas City Council approved an ordinance allowing for the open and legal sale of marijuana paraphernalia. No longer will Sin City cannabis consumers be forced to buy water pipes for the supposed use with tobacco. To stay compliant with the new rule, paraphernalia vendors will need to display their cannabis consumption wares in a way that's not viewable in public to anyone under the age of 21. Cannabis farmers in Spokane, Washington will be forced soon to register with the State Air Pollution Agency in a bid to cut down on overly smelly grow sites. In addition to registering, compliant cultivators will also be required to pay fees ranging from just over $500 a year up to $5,000, depending on the size of the grow. A legislative committee in Delaware that's been looking at the merits of legalizing adult-use marijuana say they're pushing back the date they released their findings from the end of January to the end of February. The 25-member committee is tasked with weighing the pros and cons of adult use legalization and will present their final report to Governor Jay Carney in the state's General Assembly. Today is the last day that Maine Governor Paul LePage has to cast his veto on a piece of legislation laying out the particulars for how Maine's adult use marijuana system will spin up next year. The legislation was crafted by a committee of state lawmakers and approved in special session last month, though not by enough margin to easily override a LePage veto. One of the interesting notes on this story is that if LePage does veto the measure today, the state legislature has to muster a 2/3 vote of lawmakers present during the vote to override it, not 2/3 of the total legislative body. I'm sure we'll be checking back on this story either way as it lands on Monday. And finally for today, California is one step closer to providing its legal marijuana industry with proper insurance services after the state's insurance commissioner approved the first filing of an insurance business to sell to legal cannabis operators. The Golden Bear Insurance Company was approved yesterday by Insurance Commissioner Dave Jones. That's all the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again on Monday with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily and visit our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, Extractioneering, and to all of our awesome patron listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the patron listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in and starting your day with marijuana today.
One take, Shay. One take.